Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at this is the Stanley. This is their part number 313160. This is a Outswing arm assembly in clear, and I have the contents of one of these removed from the box. So an Outswing assembly is, the terminology between, well, not terminology, but the application of automatic door closer arms and typical mechanical hardware, just hydraulic, spring surface closers, overhead concealed closers, floor closers, things of that nature. But the surface material, generally, when you have an outswing arm, we would call it a top jam mount. So these arms operate like a mechanical top jam sort of mount, and then on the inswing you'll have a shorter arm with then a track mounted in the face of the door. So when you see what would be normally what we would call a regular arm that they're going to install in a top jam application, if you're coming from the mechanical hardware world over to the automatic door hardware world, you know it's going to be an outswing, is the bottom line. Why would you need a replacement arm? We'll talk about that in a moment, but first let's go over what all of this looks like. Okay, obviously that's going to sit into the spline shaft that you have. This is called the main arm, and the main arm, from end to end, basically, is about 12 3/4. This whole arm assembly weighs 4.1 pound, and the bulk of that weight is right here in this arm, 4.1 pound. Okay, made of steel. Then this is the main arm. That would be from here to here. Then you've got and you guessed it, the forearm from here to here. There it is. This is a some sort of a plastic coating over a threaded rod, and this will allow you to ultimately completely adjust for what we would call reveal, the face of the header to the face of the door when you're standing on the push side. That's what the reveal is. And the length of the forearm is about 19 3/8. How much forearm you're going to need to use is going to be related to the that reveal. Typical reveal can be 4 inch. It could be 3 inch. It can be less. It could be, we did a job for a client. I supplied the operators to a customer of mine who was installing it for another customer of mine, and they had like a 12-inch reveal. So that length of the forearm needed to be calculated to be based on what was going to ultimately be required for that. What else is in the package? This is going to include, I will tell you what it's going to include. This also includes the on-off switch with the harness. Okay. Ground wire, obviously. Going to include the cable as well. It's going to include all of the hardware that you need to get it all attached. And plenty of hardware. In fact, let's open this up and take a look. The arm shoe is here. That's what we would call the arm shoe. Let's take a basic dimensional property of that. Center to center of the screw holes appears to be about 2 inch. You're going to get a spacer collar for the bolt that's going to run into the spindle. You will get a variety of fasteners and bolts for attaching. Quite frankly, I'm not sure what you're going to be attaching with all of this. There's Rivnuts in here, and I can only tell you that it's going to be certainly used for the arm shoe. You're not going to drill and tap into an aluminum door, or just drill into an aluminum door. So the Rivnuts that are in there are indeed for that. This is a Rivnut that is meant to collapse down onto the item when you are putting the bolt down. Wire nuts are here, obviously. A variety of other nuts and washers that you'll end up using. Put all that back in the package. You're also going to get a signage pack, and this is not really indicated, but it does, every time we've sold these, they are included. And the reason I would say that they're included is because Everything about an automatic door is mandated or governed by code. Everything. And ANSI A156.19.11 signage is as important, and from a code perspective, to have on the door as is the operator to be there itself. If you don't have this signage on the door, you technically do not have a code compliant unit. It could work, it could completely operate as it ought to in terms of a low energy operator for a handicap application or a high energy operator, but if you don't have the signage, you do not have a code compliant unit. I would imagine the manufacturer sleeps better at night knowing that these are included always, because the onus is on you as the installer, as the industry professional, to make sure that that is all there. Speaking of the code, well, you know what, we'll switch to the screen view and we'll take a closer look at those documents as well. But this part of the video is done. It covered everything that's in the box and a few basic dimensional properties. Let's switch to the screen view now. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Here's the item that we are indeed looking at, and we have some images posted down below. Now, nowhere online does anyone else include in their description this decal package. We do. It's in the box. I wonder if other people are selling the arms and stripping them of the decals, but they are part of the assembly, at least at this time. Your switch, your wiring, your hardware package, your main arm, showing you the splines where it connects to the spindle. Just another view of it, where the forearm connects to the main arm versus this coupler. There's your forearm, your hardware package. Okay. Actually, there are two more images that I'll bring to your attention here. There's the label, and then there's your decal package. Now, speaking of the decals, because I had mentioned it earlier, I'm going to give you at least the title of the documents that are related to automatic doors. So we're dealing with A156.10, A156.19. Those are the two governing documents. And A156.10 is the what we would call high energy. If you have sensors on your door, then you have high energy, and it would be the .10 document that's going to be your reference. Okay, this is a document that you would purchase from ANSI directly, unless you have a copy of it from some other source. That's how you would come across this information. Then there's A156.19, and that's the low energy version. This operator could be used on either high or low energy, and based on the photograph, the client-supplied photograph that I see here, I would imagine that this is low energy because I don't see a sensor on the inside. You know, there could be a sensor on the outside, but in that case, but you know, generally automatic doors that you'd have in a grocery store, they'll have sensors naturally on both sides of the openings generally. But these are the documents that you would want to refer to. A156 is the series, .19 and .10. If I were to do a Control F on my keyboard, and while this is a very large document for the word sign, or signage, it does show me Chapter 11, page 19, I believe. It doesn't... Let's get over to page 19. Signage. Okay. Signage and warning guidelines are recognized. All swinging, sliding, folding doors shall be equipped with signage visible from both sides reading automatic door. That's the yellow decals that are in here. Okay. And by the way, the word shall equals the word must They don't say must, they say shall. Should means you ought to, but you're not mandated to do it. And it goes over in detail the entire requirement. If you work in the automatic door industry, to be doing so without a working knowledge of this document would possibly cause you to have to do work over, but also be exposed to culpability if something's wrong. The sign shall be mounted at on the door at a height of 58 inch plus or minus 5 inch from the floor to the center line. You don't want to be responsible for putting it somewhere and then someone becomes injured through the door, potentially no fault of your own, but you touched it and that sign is at 52.5 inch. So the point being, these documents, while expensive, are very much worth the investment. The .19 is low energy. You know, if you have an operator on a bathroom door in a restaurant, this would be your document. The primary difference that I was taught is high energy has sensors, or let me back up. As soon as you add sensors, you go from low to high energy. It has nothing to do with the rating, how quickly the doors move, the duty, whether it's very capable material. It's just the two terms that they've used to say no sensors and with sensors. Okay, so back to our information here. We do have some supporting documentation that we can take a look at. We have the manual. This is going to be for Magic Force, Magic Swing, Magic Access. I don't know if this part number will show up in the document. It doesn't. But if we look up ARM, it doesn't help us much either. Okay, not much here to see in terms of the ARM. Magic Force brochure, that's just a cut sheet. Drawing. Helpful information, to be sure. Unfortunately, not giving us a lot of new data. If you recall, we spoke about an in-swing. It's a track mounted to the door, and then the arm showed separately. And while this may not apply directly to what you might be working on, it is nice to see supporting information. There is our 313160 application drawn, and that reveal dimension I had mentioned earlier was the, it's literally listed right here. Reveal, distance from the face of the door to the rear of operator. Okay, sure. So, assuming the rear of the operator is the face of the frame, what they're saying is, I think, the plane onto which you are installing the operator. If this shim was 1 inch thick and projected further off, you would indeed take that reveal from that 1 inch plate. What I mean by that is, I had a client who, I had mentioned it earlier, and my client's client, my two clients that I put in contact with each other, the application was this. Okay, here's his door, swinging out. This was all brick. Typical, common Chicago brick. And what the client was doing was, the reason I got this particular client of mine involved to help my other client, who's a developer, who doesn't possess installation crews, was because this was a specialized application. It was going to take somebody who really knew their way around it. So my point is the face of the header to the face of the door is the reveal. But Stanley's taking it a step further. The reveal is actually the backside of where you're mounting the operator to. So what my client needed to do in this case was have a custom piece of steel made, which, he then had, he secured to the face of the masonry header, machine screws, lead anchors. Then he attached the operator to that steel plate. The reveal in this case is the face of that steel plate to the face of the door. So during the installation process, as he was getting ready, having the plate made, my goal was to, once he gave me the reveal dimension, was to find out the length of what the forearm needed to be so that he could go to the job and cut it properly. So I worked with the manufacturer to determine the length of the forearm. So he wasn't out there experimenting with it. No need for that. No need for that. So that's what that application was in terms of reveal. More information here that you could probably just dive in and enjoy reviewing. Okay. So there is a link below this video here to the manufacturer's page. Okay, there's a link below this video here to the manufacturer's page where you can pull that up. You can view not only all of the Stanley products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website here, and then several encyclopedic documents, parts manuals, wiring diagrams. If you're looking for something in terms of an encyclopedic document, this is, if we have it, this is where it is. If you're looking for it and it's not here, reach out to us. I'll be happy to exert some energy and add to our ongoing, ever-growing collection. Okay. I'll also have the ANSI documents posted here as well. Thank you. Let's wrap up this video on camera. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. In conclusion, there's your Stanley arm 313160. I said earlier, why would you need to replace this? Well, probably because of vandalism, because of abuse, or just simply volume. Everything needs to be replaced eventually. The oil in your car, the threshold on your door, and the arm on your automatic door operator. Everything fatigues with time. Maintenance, like would apply to the car scenario analogy, is very often the difference between something lasting very long and something becoming disposable. You don't want to neglect your arms. Make sure the fasteners are tight. In the automatic door world, a daily check, a daily safety check is mandated by code because of that ANSI document. But you're going to want to make sure that pieces are attached, fasteners are tightened. You don't want to strip the spindle coming out of the operator. That's a major problem. The arm is one thing, but that operator is a much more expensive endeavor. And these arms are not cheap either. They're a fortune, in my opinion. Any questions on the 313160 Stanley arm package or any other Stanley product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching. And if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.